All right, man. Is this thing on?
Yeah,
We live?
we live.
Spring break's over?
I think so,
Oh, man.
for the most part, at least.
Whew. It's good to be back. I was doing too much for spring break, Justin. I don't know. Just traveling too much. Um, 8 days in Vegas, 4 in Nashville. It takes a lot out of a guy that's getting ready to turn 50, man.
Yeah. Oh, nice. That's what's up.
Takes a lot out of me now. I don't rebound the way I used to. And I don't know if everybody could tell or not, but it's a little in the sinuses right now. Been pushing through it, but it's good to be back, man. I want to talk a little bit of Bengals football and some draft stuff, and it's my reluctant mock draft today. Are you excited about it? Are you looking forward to it? Are you also in my camp where I have to get to the month of the draft? I have to be in April. I don't want to do it in. I know guys that do them in March, end of February. It's crazy to me.
So a lot of people they do these mock drafts basically when they know that their season's over and they start to pay attention to college prospects. But yeah, right around March, late February, mid March, it starts to get oversaturated. Everybody's putting out a mock draft episode, and now we're here with ours. And don't get me wrong, mock drafts can be fun and when you're just talking about prospects, you're making your wish list, but they can be very overbearing at times and you just get tired of hearing the same names over and over and over again. But
Yeah.
I am looking forward to our mock draft episode just because I feel like that we're going to come in with a little bit of a more enthusiastic take. It's not going to feel like this got to be some sort of war room philosophy to where we're bantering and battling back and forth for no, let's take this guy, no, let's take this guy. And at the end of the day, we just want to keep it pushed because the real story is going to be what the hell the Bengals are going to do on draft night with the 10th pick in the first round.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be a tough one. I will say this. I think the biggest debate that you and I are going to have is going to be before the draft even starts. So let's get into it. Welcome back, Cincinnati Bengals fans, NFL football fans. Once again, we are running through the jungle, a crew of 2 tonight. Your boy Brandon Herriott here with the main man, Justin Lacey. How's it going?
Yeah, man, doing good. It's great to be able to get back from our hiatus. I'm ready to get back in the swing of things to be able to talk and analyze more football here.
Yeah, and get well soon to our colleague Tim Lyons, a little under the weather this week. Hope you're feeling better soon. Get back for the draft at least. You know what I mean. Take care of yourself.
Yeah, for sure.
Uh,
Yeah.
so here's the debate that I think we're going to have before we go into it, because I see this done 2 different ways. I think one way is the Cincinnati Bengals way, and that's going to be you take 0 trades,
Hmm.
stand pat with the picks, and we just pick, keep it shoving. The other way I see it done is do a mock draft with allow
Okay.
one trade offer. If it's accepted or declined, you just put one offer out there and let it run. I'm good with either way. Now, I'm going to tell you what I would do, Justin, if I were the Cincinnati Bengals. I've got 3 guys right now on my mind at 10 that I'm
Hmm.
running to the podium for. If one of those 3 don't hit, I'm going to try and trade back, stay in the top 20 because I
Mhm.
can still get a really good player of need there and try to get at least 2 more draft picks out of that in the second and third round. So
Absolutely.
if I can do that, if I can bundle a first and a fourth for a 1, 2, 3, 4, that's where I've done that in a couple of the mock drafts that I've tested out a couple of sites with, because I think the Cincinnati Bengals have enough holes on defense that the more players they can put in place in those middle
Mhm.
rounds, the better they're going to be depth wise. There's just no depth whatsoever.
Yeah,
Even
for sure.
even in defensive back, we talked about we like where they're at, but there's no
Mhm.
depth.
Absolutely not, and especially when you look at corner, is they're very thin and behind the guys like Dax Hill and DJ Turner. Yes, we have brought in guys like well, we've extended a guy like Jalen Davis and we brought in Jasir Taylor, but those guys do not move the needle at all for me. And don't get me wrong, I really like what Jalen Davis has meant for the team. But the guy is 30 years old or going on 30 years old, and he hasn't really produced quite a bit of nothing. So, yeah, you're going to need to fill some holes on this roster depth wise. But at the end of the day, you got to be able to think beyond the draft when it comes to filling your needs. The draft, I need to reiterate this point. The draft is where you really marry the need with the value. Yes, you can have a pinpoint number one need, but if it doesn't marry the value, then all you're going to do is just keep forcing the needs the rest of the draft. Meanwhile, other teams that also have needs or holes in some other places too, they're just going in after acquiring talent. You know, it wasn't that long ago we were just copying off of the Philadelphia Eagles, and everybody was saying we need to be like the Eagles front office because they're constantly making trades. They don't really need this player, but they went and got him anyway. Last year, it was the classic where they traded up one spot to draft a guy like Jahad Campbell when they didn't really need linebacker for real. You know, because they already extended Zach Bond, who made the Pro Bowl last year. That's just an example of that there. For the Bengals, I'm with you because I know exactly the three prospects I'm sure that you're talking about that you're going to sprint to the podium in. And I'll go ahead and say it. It's Ruben Bain, it's
One,
Sonny Styles.
2,
I'm sorry, Sonny Styles and Caleb Downs. Are
that's
those your three?
all 3. Those are
All
the 3
right.
musketeers for me.
And the reason why those are the three is because we feel confident that those three guys individually by themselves can really fill a lot of holes for you. And no matter, even though they're very different positions, for me, I look at it as Ruben Bain is that one guy that if you want to forget about this whole Trey Hendrickson saga, you draft that dude. Sonny Styles is the guy that really can be the heart and soul, the guy that you've always never really had. You can talk about Vontez Burfict, but let's be honest here. Vontez Burfict was unreliable at times. When you get a guy like Sonny Styles, you finally get that true captain and that playmaker in the middle of your defense, something that you really never had before. And then with Caleb Downs, he's your glorified eraser. He's the guy that really can cover all of the old weaknesses that we complained about for years with this team, especially in the last 5 years. They can't cover tight ends. They can't bracket coverage the secondary, and they keep missing tackles. Caleb Downs is that. All three of those prospects, in my opinion, you get one of those guys, and it feels like that it raises the level of the team around them. And
Yeah.
those guys are not there. I'm kind of with you regarding trading back. But for me, I kind of look more so I still want to be in the upper teens range before entering the aspect of the 20s because I do
Yeah. Yeah, I want to
some guys
stay inside the top 20. I'm looking
inside
at
top 20. Yeah.
17, 18, 19 is acceptable
Hmm.
for me as a trade back.
Now there's the growing conversation now that I've kind of opened the door, but I haven't really felt comfortable enough to walk right through, and that's corner in the first round. And I'm okay with entertaining that conversation, like let's say the Jamal McCoys, the Mansour Delanes, because those are really your only two.
Yeah.
But I feel like that there's inconsistencies where one prospect is coming off of not playing a year in football. He was not playing football for a year. So we're getting inconsistencies with the evaluation. Like there's people have them on their board. But bottom line is at the end of the day, man, there is opportunity to where you can leverage some capabilities with this 10th overall pick. I also look at it as this. What if the Bengals did beat the Browns in week 18? Then they wouldn't have had the 10th pick to begin with. What if they did beat the Baltimore Ravens or the Buffalo Bills the second time the Ravens, but the first time against the Bills, what if they did win that game too? Then they wouldn't even be nowhere close to the top 10. They'll probably be at pick
All things
17.
I was worried about, by the way.
Yeah,
At the end of the season, I was like, we're going to win inconsequential games. I hate this.
yeah.
And we didn't
But
for what. So I'm all right.
yeah,
But
but you know what? I was hoping that they were to win those games for the heart and soul and spirited of the team. But no matter what, I also know that I am going to, as a Bengals fan, because especially off of last year's draft, which I don't want to go into that right now, but it really sets me up to make me feel like that I don't want to place all my chips in on my emotional chips on certain prospects because I just feel like
uh,
that this Bengals team is they're
to
going to
me,
disappoint me.
it needs to be instant impact. We
Hmm.
talked about that last year again. And it has to be one of your guys. If you've got a top 10 ranking on 3 players for
Hmm.
your team fit, then that's it. So, um, before we get to cut to the chase here, no pun intended, with um, rather we have, are we going to do, are we going to stick to the script or are we going to entertain one trade?
I'll leave that up to you. I'm
Oh,
personally, I'm okay with just sticking to the script because, to be honest, the
that's what the
Bengals are
Bengals will
just
do.
not an aggressive enough team to pull off a trade. Now, they may
Right.
surprise us, but they show us hell ain't doing it in round one, you know. So,
Yeah.
and I feel like that I'm okay with sticking to the script here. Um,
Yep, it's probably what the Bengals will do. It's
yeah.
unfortunate because man, the first time I did a trade was it good. Um,
Uh-huh.
but I think that's a good call. We'll do that. Let me ask you about Sonny Styles. What do you think of a comp for him as Ryan Shazier?
Oh my God, I'm so happy you said that because everybody in the media has been saying that he's more comparable to Frank Warner. And I understand, but they're just going off of the current best players in that position in the NFL right now, and that currently stands Frank Warner. But in my opinion, when I watch him play, it truly takes me back to 2013, 2014 Ohio State, where he was really the enforcer. And when he got to the Pittsburgh Steelers, keep in mind, people don't recall this Ryan Shazier area outside of Steelers fans, but Ryan Shazier, he was really become the heart and soul of that defense. And
Yes.
then when he left that, and after that spinal injury happened in 2017, unfortunately against our Bengals on our field, that we lost that game. But that defense was not the same. And even though that defense featured rookie TJ Watt, James Harrison was a reliever who really didn't saw much snaps. Cam Hayward, you didn't really talk much about him. The defense was very susceptible against the pass and the run. They had opportunities that you can have big play. They just lost that edge to him. The guy that brought that intensity, that edge, and that was a fire off the blitz, off the edge, was Ryan
Yeah.
Shazier. I can definitely see, and that is the one guy I thought about at nauseum. Like, that's who I see Sonny
It's
Styles
it's a
as.
guy who plays sideline to sideline, but
Mhm.
doesn't get out of gap integrity.
Absolutely. And he
Stays on the
doesn't
edge
miss
of that
tackles.
gap and is fast enough to when the running back decides which side he's going to, he can
Yeah.
still cut that running back off.
Mhm.
I like that comp. The more I watch him, I've seen some of his highlights and tapes, the more I like the comp.
And I think that we need to talk to Bengals fans really is that how would you feel if you had Ryan Shazier on this defense right now? And do you think that what do you think his impact value would be? I like to journey to think that maybe probably 80% of the Bengals fans out there will take that. And the ones that don't want to entertain that either A, don't remember, or B, they just hate the Steelers so much that they don't want to give any of their players any compliments. But I am a prisoner moment of loving football. And I can actually separate my emotions against my bitter rivals to understand if you great at football, you great at football.
Yeah,
And that was a guy that was great at football.
for sure. All right, so I've got the PFF mock draft simulator up. Before we get into it, we're going to take a quick break to hear from our sponsors. If you haven't already, hit the like, hit the subscribe, hit that thumbs up, and we'll be right back after these messages. All right, once again, we were back here with Running Through the Jungle. We are ready to get into it. Mock draft simulator for the Cincinnati Bengals 2026. We're going to do all 7 rounds because they're going to all need to count. I've kind of left it in the for those of you that do these, the care for positional value and the draft board needs. I kind of left them pretty
Okay.
dead set on where they fault to because they know better than us mostly. And yeah, we're gonna just go
Before you
straight.
click enter draft, because I want to give a full disclaimer because we are doing a full 7-round mock. I'm gonna be honest with you. After round 4, I'm probably not going to give a damn.
That's all right. I will. I will. There's some guys out there that I see in these later rounds I like.
I'll be all ears for it, but that is going to be the one place like, you know what? Just do it. just get somebody.
I don't have it set on turbo, but if you're watching over here on your screen, it'll go pretty quickly.
Sure.
But let's go ahead and get into it. Start the draft.
Oh my goodness. Sonny Styles, Ruben Bain already off the door. Caleb Downs gone. Oh,
so we're in this situation.
All right. So now let's scroll up a little bit to review some of the picks before we go and talk about making our selection and our decision. All right. So obviously we already know Fernando Mendoza went number 1, Arvell Reese. Those are kind of probably your unquestionable top 2.
Correct.
But Sonny Styles at 3 to the Cardinals. Do you really think that that's going to happen? I can see Sonny Styles getting drafted top 5, but not at the Cardinals. I can see him going to the Giants for more than anything. They got David Bailey in this mock simulator going to the Titans, which I don't really see that happening. Their D-line is already stacked. I see them more taking Jeremiah Love, who they have going to the Giants in this mock. The Browns, they're not taking Ruben Bain Jr. They already got that D-line fully loaded. They need offense. That's just not a good mock, in my opinion. Let's see here. Francis Mawaga. Did I say his last name right? Malagoa? Francis Malagoa, the tackle out of Miami?
Yeah, that's he's a beast. I like him.
You can see him going to Washington, but this is also one of those classic spots where I can probably see them take Caleb Downs too, or Sonny Styles if he's there. They did a lot of move on defense.
7, 8 makes sense.
Yeah.
9. So see 9 they have Carnell Tate. I don't think he goes there, but I think that's where you might see a Bain or somebody like that go off.
Hey, the Chiefs, there has been projected the Chiefs could trade up with the Browns or they can trade back. And if they are going to stand pat at 9, there's talks about them potentially going corner. And then obviously because Caleb Downs in this mock went number 8 to the Saints, which the Saints, I don't know what their holes are. I know it's plenty, but I can see them just grabbing a talented guy like Downs. But so that leaves us with our top 3 guys that we had in our tier 1 list. They're all gone. So yeah.
I mean, Mesidor is the next best edge.
Okay.
Tackles here. Mansour Delane is probably head and shoulders the best pick here.
That is the consensus because again, this is what we were talking about with the corners. You got Jamal McCoy and Mansour Delane. Jamal McCoy is rated pretty low here out of the remaining prospects that's on the board. Personally, if I were to go the cornerback route, Mansour Delane seems like that's the safest bet. Jamal McCoy, he has the injury history. He is the better prospect in terms of skill set wise. So it'll be too much of a little bit of a risk there. I don't think the Bengals are interested in going to be taking a risk at pick 10 with a guy like that. And as far as offensive tackle go, round 1, pick 10, I'm off that board. Even if we were to entertain the trade back in this scenario, I still just don't want to do it. It's too rich for my blood. And you got more pressing defensive needs here. I'm with the Mansour Delane pick.
I actually traded out of this spot 2 out of the 3 times I've done this. None of my top 3 have been in here. And I traded back here with the Carolina Panthers into the 19th pick and was able to get Loang, the guard from Penn State. I was happy as a lark with that because
that would be good, man. But man, what makes me mad though is that the Bengals don't bet you they won't even take a guard that high in the first round of the draft.
No, they won't. But
yeah, that's what frustrates me. Also, too, man, we ain't even bringing this up. Dylan Thiedemann out of Oregon, that dude is a baller too.
He is.
if somehow we were able to trade back and keep like maybe pick 15 or pick 16, 14 or whatnot, I think Dillerman could still be there. But honestly, give me Dylan Thieneman or Mansour Delane with one of those two big. If you ask me personally, I think Mansour Delane has a higher floor as a corner, but Dylan Thieneman has a higher ceiling as a safety. And me, I need playmakers. So I'm cool with either one of those two.
Mansour
And you
Delane
see,
it is.
and Dylan Thieneman went right off the board right afterwards.
Yeah. Yeah. So here we go, waiting for this 41st pick.
All right. We just concluded round one. Christian Miller, first pick in round two off the board.
Lee
Yeah.
Hunter, defensive line.
Okay. I like that. Like I think the Bengals met with him at the combine too, as well. Got a top 30 visit.
Jacob Rodriguez
Jacob
is my pick right
Rodriguez,
here.
he's on the board. Chris Johnson, cornerback out
Yeah.
of San Diego State, is on the board. See, man, the Chiefs, man, they are D'Angelo Pons just went right a pick right before we just picked, man. That just makes me sick because I was going to be like, give me him.
I like
Malachi
the
Lawrence.
Eli Stowers kid out of Vanderbilt, the tight end out of Vanderbilt, but I don't see that happening.
Yeah, Malachi Lawrence, that could be a nice little pick up there. But I think that I can
now
wait.
we're in a spot where if they're picking somebody here around the 60, it's somebody they've got pegged, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. To me, I mean, you could make a strong argument here for defensive interior, but I go linebacker.
I think that Jacob Rodriguez, again, I don't trust a lot of rookies. I think this is a deep linebacker class, but I don't trust a lot of rookies. That's not Sonny Styles. But if I am going to put one guy put a chip on a guy that, you know what, I think he'll fit in nicely with what we currently have. Jacob Rodriguez is that guy for me. It sucks because I really like some of these other prospects here, but go ahead. Let's go for Jacob Rodriguez, man. I
I'm
think
with
that
you.
you can't. It's too much of a need there. They ain't got no linebackers.
And you can make an argument with him being best player available there too.
Facts. Absolutely. Now, like you said, defensive interior would have been a good shot. I saw Lee Hunter was still on the board, but Lee Hunter, I don't think he's better than Christian Miller, who I like. I don't think he's better than Caleb Banks, who I like. So
here's the guy I've looked at: Grayson Holton, defensive interior, Oklahoma. I like him. We got Kalen Rutledge from Georgia Tech, good guard. Right. Both of those are top of the heap here. Romello Height, edge.
I was going to say Romello Height could be interesting because the Bengals did also meet with him and had a private workout with him. So I'm not sure with the interest level in drafting him being at this spot. Kamari Ramsey, the safety out of USC, is on the board. Now they did have. What is your before we pick? Because I saw that you highlight a center here. What is your opinion and your thought process on Matt Lee being waived?
I was shocked. I mean, I thought that was who they were thinking maybe the center of the future was. I was definitely wrong there.
See, a lot of fans had this notion that they couldn't wait to see Matt Lee on the field, and I'm just thinking to myself, has he ever played good? For the Bengals? Like, I get college and whatnot, but
he never really had a shot, but we heard good things out of camp.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you kind of go by. Deion Burks, a wide receiver. I don't think we got too much need to go wide receiver here.
Yeah, in the top 3 picks, I'm okay with just sticking with defense, but don't get me wrong. Like, again, talk about round one. If Mekhi Lemon, he was on the board, and I was like, you know what? That is a perfect slot guy that we can add that dynamic infused to the talent that we currently have. But yeah, I'm with you. I'm okay with not going offense round 3 here, neither. So I'm trying to.
Right now we have a corner and a linebacker. We still need an edge. We still need line. We still need guard, for sure.
Okay. All right. Based off of this mock here, I truly think that they're going to probably aim after Romello Height, who we got listed on our screen here. If you're watching us on
240, big grade jump.
I wouldn't draft them this high either. But based off of the prospects that's listed, I don't mind going guard either here for you because you are going to need depth at that position. because at the end of the day, just because we like our starting unit on the line, that doesn't mean that I'm okay with skipping past talent moving forward. If the guards are more talented here than the defensive edge players or the interior players, then I'm going guard here. So I mean, again, it's one of those things where don't overthink the talent that's on the board. Just get it.
Shoot. I don't know. I think you're talking me into Romello Height. I think you are.
Really, I also really like Kamari Ramsey too,
So
but
do
he's
I.
more of a free safety than a box safety. So he doesn't really play the strong side very much. He's more of a free range. He can still do more strong ends as well too, but he's more free safety. Like he'll be a guy that you can see taking over for Brian Cook's position, down the road. And
It's
I
going to
don't
be
want that
defense
right
heavy. I think we go Romello Height. And I think I know who we're going to get at 110.
now. All right, let's go. All
Have
right.
you had I'm gonna jinx this by saying this, but have you had your eyes on a safety out of Kansas State at all?
I have not. I have not.
I like the way he fits. You know how I keep saying we need some more players that play with a little violence.
Mm-hmm.
I like the way this guy fits. I'm looking, hoping his name don't come off the board. Oh, I didn't see it.
Okay.
Hold on a second.
All right.
Bud
This is
Clark, safety, TCU.
oh, Bud Clark.
That's my pick.
Yes, sir. Hey, we ain't even got to question it.
That's my
We
pick
ain't
right
got.
there.
Let's go.
It's depth, it's violence, it's immediate impact
Mm-hmm.
on special teams. That's who I go. Now, I will look. I mean, if you look up here, there's edge. Rashawn Benny's a 3-tech defensive line.
Nah, I'm
He can
cool.
get some pressure on the quarterback here and there, but doesn't really fit our normal what we see at 3-tech for the Bengals.
Yeah, I'm with you on Bud Clark.
Yeah,
I
I
do
think Bud
I know
Clark's
a
the
lot
pick.
about his tenacity and his toughness. You said Kansas State, and I'm thinking Kansas State. No, TCU.
TCU, sorry. Purple. My bad. I wonder why I blanked there.
Alright, and that concludes the 4 rounds, and this is where I'm just open to hear
your
feedback.
boy is on see what kind of comments we got over there.
And we don't even have a 5th round pick, do we? But we do have 2 6s. Dang, at this
Yeah, well,
point, I'll trade the rest of my draft if I can get hey, um, Dexter Lawrence, I hear that you are looking for a trade. Giants, you
sexy
want
Dexy.
my 6th and 7th round picks? We got 2 of them.
He just wants a
Alright, here
big
we go.
contract. All right, we got Drew Shelton is best available according to PFF. Tackle
You
out
know,
of Penn State. Pat Coogan,
I was
center
gonna
out of
say Pat
Indiana.
Coogan seems a little bit more on that legit side. Again, you just waived Matt Lee. You got 4 6th, 7th round picks. Just go ahead and fill some of the rest of the holes for depth purposes for now. And let Zane Durant. I just saw him.
Yep, I like Zane Durant too.
I think Zane Durant you can get with your 2nd, 6th round pick though.
Hold on a second here. He's a little undersized for what we normally like. I'm just perusing, as they say.
Yep.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen. I'll take 2 guys that side. Pat Coogan, that's who I would draft.
Let's go.
I also like Miles Kitselman, just so you know, like if maybe at 99, if he's still around, I think he's kind of that every down blocking, do the dirty work tight end.
As long as he's better than Drew Sample, I'm all for it.
And defensive lineman went right off. There he is.
Hey. Okay.
Cole
Real quick.
Wisniewski.
Can we look at running backs real quick?
Yeah.
Because I mean, There has been some conversation and talk about Jeremiah Love and all that because he
So
has a top 30 visit to the Bengals. I think that's a little bit too rich for me at 10. And honestly, I think that's more of a luxury value. Not too rich. It's a luxury value pick where it can help you, but it doesn't really necessarily solve majority of the problem. It's not the most valuable if you ask me personally. So
I think
um
we can get a good running back on the next one.
get running back. Who you eyeing right now from this early list here that you see?
I like Desmond Reed. He
I was
runs like
looking at him too.
a bat out of hell. I mean, Roman Hemby is solid out of Indiana. Terrion Stewart, what's his size like? Not bad. 5'9", 220.
Yeah, those guys out of Pitt is tough. I don't know, man. I feel like I think tight end, it's one of those, man, it's gonna be an overcrowded room. And I don't want another Tanner McLaughlin situation. And I know that we got some tight ends here, but I'd rather just sign one, hurry up and sign one in free agency, like get David Njoku or something. Just because I just feel like that we're gonna pigeonhole ourselves into another
But
situation where we draft
we're
a tight
gonna
end, he don't
lose
play.
2 of them next year.
True.
I'd rather be over it. And I don't see, man, I really don't see anything else. I would take, how about 346 in the middle?
Is he a nose?
Yeah, interior offensive or defensive lineman.
Okay. Let's see. Xavier Thomas, wide receiver out of LSU. Okay. I think you might be on something here. Harold Perkins Jr. There he is. I like him too.
Hmm.
I think we go with the best prospect player
I'm gonna go
here,
to tight
like you
end.
said. Yeah, let's just do it
I'm gonna
because
go
we
tight
might
end
be
because I think we're gonna get somebody that's gonna work in well here at 221. Mm-hmm.
Harold Perkins goes to the Ravens. You son of a bitch.
That's a good pick by them. Desmond Reed.
Yeah, Desmond Reed right here. Perfect.
I like Desmond Reed there. Okay, what we got here? Interior D line, little undersized. We got cornerback Jadon. Is it Kennedy? He had actually a pretty good year this past year.
Okay.
Yeah, I see he
I'm not
trended
familiar
up
with
to
his game.
85. A little undersized, but limits
All
him
right.
in run defense, but could be a
We
good
also we
nickel.
we also do need special. We also got to think about we need special teams depth too. So I'm with that as well. Hey, Noah Thomas from Georgia's on here.
Max Bresden is listed as a tight end.
He can be like a red zone field stretcher a little bit. Because in my opinion, you need to kind of get somebody to add a little bit more to that depth on that wide receiver room too.
Hmm. I, man, I could make an argument here for depth at defensive tackle, corner, or wide receiver.
My vote is on wide receiver.
A big, explosive outside X receiver.
And the thing is, I need the wide receiver that I draft. Somebody, and they ain't got to have like kick return abilities, even though I would like that. But somebody I can just wedge up in there that can help compete for the wide receiver 3 and 4 spots if it comes down to it potentially. I mean, it's kind of wishful thinking to get it here in this spot, so it may not be possible, but I'm willing to take a flyer on one.
I think we
And
take corner depth, man.
yeah, yeah. And like you said, John Kennedy, That can be a special teams. That can be your
Yeah.
DJ Ivy future.
Yeah.
So I'm all for it.
All right. Let's see what kind of grade they give us here. I want to go back and trade that first pick so bad. We can't do it though.
All right, that's the end of the draft. Give us a let's see.
You drafted Romello Height. It said Skylar Bell was a higher draft position at wide receiver there. So Romello Height is our only C. We
But I
got a
bet you,
solid. We got a solid B.
but I bet you that the Bengals are probably going to reach for a guy like that just because they met with him. They probably like him. That feels such a Bengals pick in round 3, one that fans are going to complain about and be like, "Oh my gosh, they did it again and burnt another pick on fire." I just got this feeling that that's what's going to be the case with him.
I mean, not the best one I've seen so far, but did we hit needs? Corner depth, yes. Linebacker, yes. Edge, yes. Safety, yes. Center, yes. Tight end, eh. Running back, yes. Cornerback depth, yes.
Here's what I'm looking for. If the draft shakes up to be like this, if Mansour Delane, Jacob Rodriguez, Bud Clark, and maybe I will say Desmond Reed. If all of those guys hit, then dude, I'm fine with how the rest of the draft plays out. I don't care if Romello Height was a reach in at that point if he doesn't pan out. But if I get maximum value, especially with my first two picks, but mainly Bud Clark, if he really does become that guy that develops into an ace for you, I'm all for this particular draft because you're looking at you need 3 starters, low key
Yeah.
for real. So sign me up, man. And again, I wasn't putting corner on my list at first, but the more I think about it, the way I feel like how the Bengals are going to really go about this Dax Hill, DJ Turner extension, I feel like they're going to extend one but not the other. And you got to extend DJ Turner. He's earned it. Dax Hill, I feel like he's going to walk if they don't get the right price. I just don't think that they are going to put the eggs in their baskets when they know that they're going to have future payments to make down the road. Like you still got guys like Amarius Mims coming up on his contract year and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and he's going to need to get paid. Nobody right now is getting no money on defense. Trey Henderson's gone. So now you got to figure out who are your next aces on that side of the ball and throw him some dough. Or go trade for a guy and sign him to a new contract. So
Yeah, it's going to get interesting with some of the new contracts coming up next year and the year after. But um, I, do I love this draft? No. But
yeah,
for
nah.
what they gave us, I'm happy with it. I think Jacob Rodriguez, Bud Clark, Mansour Delane, all I have probabilities of them being starters. And that's the thing. If you get 3 solid starters out of a draft class, you're normally good. I also
Yeah.
think that you have the ability to get that out of a Pat Coogan, Romello Height. Um, so I think there could be 4 here.
Mm-hmm.
Got hit on one of those 2 wild cards, right? And Pat
Yeah.
Coogan playing this last year, with we have very good leadership and knowledge at the center position for somebody there to learn from. So that's also another reason why if Matt Lee gets cut, I'm guessing that was spoken to about within the offensive line room itself, not just the front office.
Mm-hmm.
So
I also think that there's opportunity for Matt Lee to come back on the practice squad if he clears waivers, even. I mean, it's
yeah, true.
sometimes these moves are made under the radar to do some roster gymnastics to prep you up for making another move because nobody's rosters are finally set yet. That's not happening until till late in the summer when we get into those training camp modes. And then the 53 man and the cut down roster and stuff like that. And then you can start to you can start to funnel in some people on the practice squad. Maybe Matt Lee is going to come back in time. This is just in name only a decision that needs to be made right now to make other moves before the draft kicks off. And then maybe you bring them back if you decide that you still need more depth at that position. But if we come out with a draft like this, you get a potential guy at center that can take over the future. I'm sorry, Matt Lee. You know, it's been nice to have you in the training camp and stuff like that, but we don't need you now. Good luck, though.
I will say this. We were true to our criticisms of the Bengals last year in our mock draft this year. At 10, who we really wanted was not available. And instead of reaching in the first round, we got a playmaker that can impact your team on day one. So
Absolutely.
We did stick true to that. We took the best available on the defensive side of the ball that could make plays for us on day one. And then we were able to get solid piece at 2, gave us the ability to maybe try and reach here at 3. So if the Bengals are going to reach, which it seems like they do every year, I'd rather them do it this way and reach in rounds 2, 3, or 4 than reach in round 1.
Absolutely.
And 10th pick either needs to be traded or impactful immediately.
And I'm really happy that we ended up getting Jacob Rodriguez at linebacker. Don't get me wrong. There was other guys there on the board that I was like, oh, what about this guy? What about this dude? But the bottom line is I felt like that outside of him, there was not going to be any other opportunity to draft a better performing linebacker in later in the draft. And I didn't want my eyes getting bigger than my stomach because at the end of the day, your need still has to marry the value. And that was the perfect opportunity to get to it. Didn't feel like Demetrius Knight last year. Because remember, Demetrius Knight last year, we picked in round 2. But remember when we did these mock exercises, dude was falling in round 3 because he was an older prospect. You could have gotten him later. You didn't have to rush that decision. But Jacob Rodriguez, I think that he's a guy that's not falling past the second round at all. And I just feel like you needed to get him while he was there. He was near the top of the board. And he was, like you said, outside of Sonny Styles and then maybe one other guy, I think that you can make an argument that he is one of the best linebackers in this entire draft, just completely, period.
All right. That concludes the mock draft. Hopefully Tim feels better, or hopefully Tim still feels great and just didn't want to do a mock draft. I can feel that.
He can listen to us back on this episode later in the playback.
Yeah. We're going to wrap it up here. Justin, any of the closing words for everybody?
Yeah, man, let's just get to draft season, man. I'm tired of I'm glad that we got our mock draft done, but at the end of the day, it's a wish list. We go off of what we can. I'm glad that we also didn't entertain trades right now, even though it would have been fun. But I'm glad we didn't do that. Like you said, just stay trying and stay true to what we do. We think also the Bengals are going to do. And let's just get ready to gear up for the season.
I will say this. Bengals should look at some of these trades, though.
Bro.
Ain't bad. But I would much rather have one of our top 3. And maybe I'm talking myself into a top 4. Maybe I got a Mount Rushmore. I'll take it 10. I don't mind this idea of a shutdown corner, putting two really good corners out there. You know, at least we got one great room. I dig it. But that's going to be it for us this evening. We appreciate you rocking with us. As always, if you haven't yet, you still got a split second here to hit that like, subscribe, thumbs up, share us, tell a friend to tell a friend. And we are back now. No more spring break, no more vacations. We are working. So we'll be back here, same bat channel, same bat time. You can reach us next week as we are running through the jungle.